Well, hello and welcome back. This week I watched ParaNorman for SourceFed Movie Club. It's a 2012 stop-motion animated comedy horror family film. Yeah, it fits into all those genres, and essentially follows this boy Norman who's 11 years old and he lives in Blythe Hollow. And Blythe Hollow is a town that's in Mass. It's been cursed by a witch for the last 300 years, and only somebody who can speak and see the dead can actually save the town from this curse. And they have to do it annually. And unfortunately for Norman, the only person in town now is him that can do it. So even though he doesn't have anybody to teach him how to do it, he has to save this town. A town that has, even though they have been cursed and they capitalize on this curse, and there's witches legitimately everywhere throughout town, and the town's very accepting of the fact that witches exist and that they were cursed by a witch, they can't accept the fact that he can see and talk to the dead. So he gets kind of bullied and ridiculed and basically outcast by the town, and yet he still is like, I'm the only one who can save my town, I'm gonna do it. And he does it. And I really like that. I'm on board with that. And I think the moral of this movie is not to judge people too harshly on their differences, that people need to try to actually make an effort to understand them. Even if you can't accept people's differences, you at least need to make an effort to understand what they are and see that there's value in everyone's differences. And I liked that. I think it's a good message to send to kids, and it's a good message in general to send to people, that you shouldn't just judge somebody because they're different and because you don't understand it, whether it's from fear, lack of knowledge, whatever the case may be. You shouldn't be too harsh on people and judge too quickly and persecute somebody right away because they're different from you and you don't understand it. Make an effort to understand it. And I like that in this movie. So you got Cody Smith-McPhee, who plays Norman's voice. Anna Kendrick is Courtney, who is his sister in this movie. John Goodman is Mr. Prendergast, who is actually Norman's uncle. Leslie Mann is in here. Casey Affleck. They're all voices in here. You recognize most of them. At least a majority of the main characters in this movie you recognize. There's lots of stereotypes in this movie, and I think the stereotypes are very overplayed and over-exaggerated, but I think it's done in a way that when the characters flip and they develop a little bit more, that you're okay with it. It's not that big of a deal to you towards the end of the movie because they all have redeeming factors, and that's a good thing to have in a kids movie, right? I also like the fact that at the very end of the movie you find out that Mitch has a boyfriend, so they just kind of slide that little LGBT nod in there, and I love it. It's not overplayed, it's not banging your head against it, so there's not something that people can be like, oh, I don't want to watch this, or my kids aren't going to watch this because there's gay guys in it. No, it's just a nod. The dude says he has a boyfriend, and it just kind of shrugged off like it's not that big of a deal. Courtney's a little upset about it because she's got a thing for him, but that's about it. And I like that. We need to start incorporating more of that into kids' things. I'm not saying that we need to have gay sex in them, but I'm just saying that we need to have something just to let kids know at a younger age that it is okay that there are people in the LGBT community, that it's okay to be gay if you are, and it's okay if you're not, and it's okay that we all can get along together, and I like that. Again, like I said earlier in this review, that this was a stop-motion animation film, and I don't feel like any of it was like too blocky or hesitant. It was very well done. It was beautifully done, in fact. There's so many details in this movie that actually, if you're paying attention to it, that you can just see all the work that they've done in it, and oh my god, it was just so well done. Oh my goodness, I love watching it. I've watched this movie like probably 20 times since it came out. I went to the theater twice to see it with my daughter, and she loved it. I bought it because she loved it so much. We watched it on Netflix because, you know, SourceFed. So we enjoy it a lot. I think her favorite scene in this entire movie, though, is a scene where Neil, who is by far my favorite character in this movie, is with Norman, and they're kind of talking about the dead, and Neil's like, can you see my dead dog? And Norman's like, yep, I see him. And Neil's trying to play fetch with the dog, and Norman's like, no, that's not a thing you can do. He's dead. You can't catch it. And Neil's like, but it's fun. Just do it. It's fun. And Norman's like, okay. So Norman throws a stick and it ricochets off a tree, and Neil catches it in his mouth, and my daughter hysterically dies laughing every single time. She doesn't die, but she laughs hysterically every time, like to the point where I have to pause the movie because she's still laughing about it and she's not really catching anything after. And that's fun to watch because, kids' laughter is fantastic. So I love this movie so much. Oh my gosh. Yes, you should watch it. I think everyone should watch this movie because there's a lot of good things that you can take away from this movie, even if you don't particularly care for the style or kids movies in general. Just watch it. It's good. There's a little bit of everything for someone in this movie. It's very quotable, and I enjoyed that a lot. And yes, yes. Oh, and I want to go back. Neil's my favorite character in this whole movie because he's the chunky kid in school. And even though he's the fat kid, he's funny. And I like it because he's like, yes, I have these afflictions. Yes, I'm fat. Yes, I have irritable bowel syndrome. Yes, I have this and this and this, but that's okay. And he stands up to bullies, and he's Neil's best friend, and he's one of the only people who's like, this is who you are, and I'm accepting of it. I'm not going to question, I might question you about it a little bit, but I'm not questioning you as in like prosecuting you about it. I'm questioning you because I'm legitimately interested about you and interested in the differences, and I want to know about you, and I accept that you're different, and I want to be your friend. And he's very like, I'm going to be his friend and stand by him all the time, even if people don't want me to. I love that. And the fact that he even says to his brother at one point, he's like, Mitch is his brother, and Mitch says, you know, you shouldn't be hanging out with weirdos. And he was like, don't you ruin this for me. He's not weird. He talks to the dead. And he walks away. And that's like my favorite part in this movie because he's like, you know what? No, he's not the weirdo. You guys are the weirdos because you guys are all trying to fit yourselves into a box because society says so. And he's not. He's just doing his thing. And I like that. And don't you try to fuck it up. So that is something I really enjoyed. That being said, I'm going to wrap this up and hope you guys will check out SourceFed's movie review on Saturday. If you guys are interested in anybody else's opinions on this, check out SFMC, ParaNorman, in the YouTubes, and just look at everyone and see what they say. Have a great week, and I'll see y'all later.